Tony Datino doing my Live with Tony. We are now reached June the 20th. I guess summer has arrived. And this is my Monday Live with Tony. I am not going to be doing a Wednesday broadcast. It all goes well. Hoping to be at the Kennedy Space Center on Wednesday and staying overnight. So I'm not going to be bringing my laptop with me. But I wanted to cover two things that were in the current issue of the Harvard Health Letter. The most important one we've been talking about for months, and that is the value of exercising. And what does exercise do for our mental fitness? We realize that for exercising, our mental fitness is dependent upon the oxygen that we breathe in, because that's consumed by our brain cells and helps the electrical firings of our thinking and our memories and everything that's working up in here. But now we come along here, and here's an article I'm reading over the weekend that talks about exercising in terms of strength training that helps ward off chronic disease. And when they're talking about strength training, they give you a very simple one, which is just sit in a chair, cross your arms, and just get up and down 10 times. So it's essential to strengthen all of your muscles, but strengthening your stomach, your butt, and your legs are the most important, since they make it possible for you to be mobile throughout a day. Getting out of a chair becomes an athletic event as we get older, so doing sit to stands will help you maintain your function, says a professor at the Harvard Medical School of Rehabilitation. So to do it, just sit in a fixed chair with your knees at a 90-degree angle. Stand up slowly without using your hands, right? Just get up without using the hands. Repeat the process 10 times. Make it harder. What might you do eventually? Put 3-pound weights in your hands and eventually do the free weights as you get up and down, get a couple of 3-pound weights. So exercising continues to go, but here's what I found even more important. We know it's important for our mental and cognitive fitness, but now this talks about it helps you to reduce the blood sugar in your bodies, which has got obviously an impact on diabetes and heart disease. So we want to reduce blood sugar, and so it helps to reduce the blood sugar floating in your bloodstream, and then obviously lowers the risk of diabetes and heart disease. It helps to lower your blood pressure, okay? Increased muscle mass means there are more blood vessels and pathways for blood to flow through. This takes the pressure off the cardiovascular system, says the Dr. Deepak Bhatt, as a cardiologist from Harvard. High blood pressure is a major risk of heart disease. So how often do we hear about people with high blood pressure? I have never thought of doing my 5-pound dumbbells and building the bands that I do and use. I never thought of it as helping to reduce lowering blood pressure, and high blood pressure being a major risk of heart disease. Now, I know high blood pressure is not good for us, and we move into hypertension and all kinds of other bad things for our heart, and it's not a good thing for us, but realizing it helps us to reduce and lower blood pressure was significant. So now it's reducing our blood sugar, and it's also lowering our blood pressure. How about burning calories? Muscles burn calories 24 hours a day, and the more muscle you have, the more calories that you will be burning. Now, we know that obesity is a risk factor for heart disease, and boy, we see this going back and forth, and obesity has an impact on diabetes and cancer. And God, I was just reading today something that said if there's one thing that can lead to more than 9 different ailments and things we can do, it's obesity and managing our weight and getting our nutritional habits in line with good weight restrictions and things. So now we talk about burning calories, and muscles are helping to burn those calories. So again, we're not talking about bodybuilding. We're not talking about a la Jack LaLanne, if you're old enough to remember who he was, but muscles all over, though he is well into his 90s, as physically fit as anybody I've ever seen, was 90 years old. But the point of the matter is we want to use these muscles, right? We want to use the stomach, we want to use our arms, we want to use our thighs, we want to use our butt. So we want to use these different muscle groups, and it helps burn calories. How about it discourages chronic inflammation? more and more of the science and research is sharing the fact that inflammation inside of our body systems are not good. It does all kinds of bad things for it. We don't need to go through all those bad things. But here again, a professor from physical medicine and rehabilitation at Harvard basically says persistent inflammation activates the immune system and is associated with, what's it, heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and chronic disease, as well as it has an impact on cognitive function, which this really wasn't talking about. It was talking about all these other detriments to not, having good muscle control as we get older and good muscle building, no matter what our age is. We don't have to, 3-pound dumbbells will help keep those muscles going. You want to go to 5 or 8, great, but at a minimum, I tell people during the COVID thing, right? If you can't get the stretch bands or things, they're finding now any movement we have with our abs, with our thighs, with our arms, with our butt muscles, are just all beneficial to us in terms of how we go about living as normal a life as we are able to take control over. So now comes the key question. So how much strength training is necessary? So now this gets, oh God, I don't have time. Well, God, do you watch TV for 30 to 60 minutes in a week? And I look at this and say, well, the Harvard Medical Letter is saying, God, 30 to 60 minutes of strength training leads to the highest amount of benefits. Are we not watching TV for 30 to 60 minutes in a week? Is there not a baseball game that we're watching, whether you're in what city or whatever? Is anybody watching baseball? Is anybody watching a favorite TV show for 30 or 60 minutes in a week? And so what do you do with that? Well, if you work all your muscle groups, it should take about 30 minutes in one session and do it twice a week. So do something for your arms, do something for your abs, and that getting up and down, the sit downs, that's probably the best darn exercise you can do. It's going to help your butt, your thighs, it work your abs. It may not do as much for your arms until you add 3-pound dumbbells, add 1-pound dumbbells, it doesn't matter. But you can just do 10-minute sessions 6 days a week, or you can do it, after you take a walk. And just 10 minutes, if you want to do it 6 days, or do 15 minutes 4 times. 60 minutes is workable with any one of our schedules. So how do you start, right? So they're recommending you start by getting the okay from your doctor. At least, work with your bones and your balance and your heart. And once you get your doctor to give you a green light, then you can start a minimum program of at least starting to do some of these these sit downs as they talk about. Make sure you warm up. So, right, when you talk about warm up, 2 aspects they talk about: strength training are the warm ups and the cool down. The warm up gets the blood flowing to the muscles. So all you want to do is avoid tearing muscles or straining them or creating a problem. So a warm up is a few minutes of just stretching, marching in place, moving your arms around. It could be while you're doing an aerobic activity. So this is strength training versus aerobic. And so maybe while you're doing aerobic, you're moving around and you're walking and taking your walk or so. And then you want to have a cool down. So when you're cool down, you want to have static stretching, keep muscles long. And so stretch the calves, right? You see people leaning up against the wall, stretching their calves out, the front and back of the thighs, the muscles in the hips, the shoulders, the neck, and the lower back. So this is your strength training regimentation. That we've been talking about strength training and aerobic exercises as important elements of mental or cognitive fitness. And then comes the Harvard newsletter that just lays out so many other benefits. So as I say to people, get moving. Get moving. If you're watching TV at night, just get moving while you're watching it. Walk around your sofa, walk around one of your chairs. Just get moving and take 30 minutes twice a week, and you're getting that moving. I see people, now walking with 1 or 2 pound weights that they're getting their arms working and helping them build some strength. And getting up and down from a chair helps the abs and helps the thighs and your butt, so you can get some additional benefits from it. And as you know, I keep these in 10 minutes because for some reason my Live with Tonys seem to time out at about 10:15. So if you've been watching them, you'll notice that at about 10 minutes, I start to look at the clock and I start to say, good afternoon, good evening, have a great week. And I will be back on Friday. Not going to see you this Wednesday, but I will be back on Friday.